Today, I want to take you behind the scenes of what it looks like running a 7-figure online coaching and course business. There's a lot of gimmicky stuff out there that talks about running a 7-figure business, or really any profitable business, as if it's this magical kind of pie in the sky thing where either you're someone who is hustling all the time to have it, or you're the person who is just making so much money, you are sitting on the beach drinking margaritas and not having a care in the world. When the reality is, the truth is more somewhere in the middle, where if you have the work ethic and the drive to build a profitable business, you probably enjoy and love what you're doing and you want to continue doing it, and you're not the type of person who's gonna want to go spend all your time sitting at the beach sipping margaritas. Maybe for a day or two, but that's about it. And so I want to kind of take you behind the scenes and show you what that looks like so that you can see, yes, this is amazing. I'm so grateful for the business that I and my team have built, but it's the result of hard work, of putting in the time. I've been in this business for, as of this video, 7 years now, and consistently showing up every day versus any get-rich-quick schemes or anything like that. So there are 3 areas that I want to share with you today. So the first area I want to talk you through is what my team looks like, because this is really important. A business is not the same thing as a hustle or a side gig or a job. It is something that includes systems, that includes processes, and that includes other people helping you increase your impact, deliver your products, and essentially run the systems that comprise your business. So for me at this point, I have I would say lean but significantly sized team. I'm all about being lean. In fact, I got to my first 7 figures with just one other person helping me with customer support, and I didn't even hire any other person to do that until I'd crossed over about, I think, multiple 6 figures. So I'm all about being lean, but at this point, it's just not possible to do all the things that I want to do by myself. And so I brought on really great people who are better at their areas of expertise than I am to help me. And the way the team is broken out is there are, I would say, about 4 core areas. The first, which is the biggest I would say part of my team, is lead generation. In other words, helping me get my business out there, get my message out there, and connect with as many people as possible, so that if you want to build or grow or scale your own online business, let me share with you what I believe about what's possible and my strategies and tips around that. And so with that, my team is actually broken out by a few different ways. The first is by the platform. So I'm on a few platforms. YouTube, right here. And so I record my own videos, but I have a video editor and a team that helps me optimize these videos and get them uploaded. I am also on Facebook, primarily through paid advertising. And so I've got a team that manages that for me, an agency that manages that. I used to run YouTube ads as well, and I had an ads manager help me manage that. At this point, we're not running YouTube ads right this minute, but probably will again in the future. So I'm just sharing that so that you can see we have different ads managers as well for different platforms too. I am also on Instagram, so I do have a social media manager for that. And then we do drive a significant amount of search traffic via our blog. So I do have someone who does that for me. Essentially, I am not a big fan of writing blog content. So what I will do is I will talk it out, and then I have a person, or rather an agency. I just talk to one person and then they work with their agency to turn what I said into a blog and then optimize it for search, so that if people are looking for tips on how to build their own online coaching or course business, or grow to 6 figures, or scale to 7 figures, or leave their job, my posts come up and help them. So those are, I believe, the main areas when it comes to lead generation that I've got support in for my team. And then, as I mentioned, sometimes some of those roles are individual independent contractors. Other times those roles are with agencies, and I might have a point of contact within that agency, and then they go and get support from everyone else within their agency. So that is the biggest part of my team. I do also have customer support support/delivery. So that includes customer service, support to people who are emailing and asking about questions, support to my customers, of course. We have a few members on our support squad who support our actual course students as well. And then from time to time, when I run a live program, I do have program coaches who help me also. So that is the small but very mighty, very important customer support team. We usually have about 2 people manning the customer support during just normal seasons. And then if we're doing a big launch, there's even more questions, interest, attention than usual. We'll bring on additional people to support that. The next part of my team is what I consider the operations. So this is essentially the tech stuff, because with an online coaching and course business, it's not as complicated as maybe with a physical business or a business that requires inventory and dealing with shipping and physical products. So for me, operations just includes running my website, making sure that my course membership site is running, making sure that my emails are getting sent out, the relatively simple tech things that do need to be handled. So I do have a person who oversees that as my operations manager. At this point, we do bring on contractors as needed to help with tech customizations if we need it, but I've got one person really overseeing and managing that. And then I would say I do have a designer, a developer, a team that optimizes my site, make sure it's running smoothly. And I would put that under operations, although often my designer also helps with the design for the blog post, social media, things like that. So technically you could put that into the lead generation category as well. And then the final category is the necessary things that you don't necessarily want to think about, the financial and the legal. So you definitely need that. I have a bookkeeper and an accountant, and I also have a few lawyers that I go to depending on which area I want some support with. So I have, for example, a lawyer that helps me legally protect my courses. I have a lawyer I go to for my contracts. I have another lawyer I go to for any other issues. And then I have a legal team that protects my courses and content from being stolen by others. So that is necessary. It's not so sexy to think about, but it's really important. And so the thing here is no one on my team, again, in this sort of business, you can be really lean. No one on my team is full-time. I've got an amazing team of people. They're really driven. They love doing their work. I've worked with most of the people on my team for so many years now. We have a really good relationship. They do the work and then they go and live their own amazing lives. And that's how I prefer to run it. I also do not love having a ton of meetings, and so we'll have them when necessary, but there's no regular, hey, let's check in. I set the vision, I send out an email maybe every week, every month, depending on what's going on. Hey guys, these are the things we're working on, and we have simple software like Basecamp to track who needs to do what and what needs to get done, and we keep it simple. Something you will notice that I did not mention, most likely, is salespeople. So it is pretty normal in online coaching or course business to have salespeople, maybe especially if you sell a higher cost coaching program. That is something I used to have. At this point in my business, honestly, I don't, because I didn't enjoy it. I prefer selling courses, and I prefer selling that through my content, essentially, and just sharing and communicating with you, and then having my customer support answer any questions. But I have done that. That is another common way to go, and I wanted to mention that to you. The second part of my behind the scenes that I want to share with you is what my time looks like. So nowadays I do a little bit of private consulting. I don't work with a ton of private clients simply because it's time consuming. And when I do, a lot of my private coaching consulting clients already have maybe an existing business, a really profitable one, an existing venture capital funded business, or an existing online business. So the thing is, what I've seen is a lot of them come to me, and the reason they want my help growing, especially in online course business, is because they are so busy with their businesses, managing their teams, having meetings all the time, maybe with their board of directors, with their investors, and they have difficulty even carving out the time to hop on calls. And the reason I mentioned that is because that is kind of the idea that so many of us have, myself included at the beginning of my journey, for what your time has to look like when you're running a fairly profitable and successful business. My philosophy since these last last few years has been exactly the opposite. I do not see being busy as something to be proud of. If you love what you do and you are busy, that is one thing, but being busy just for the sake of having all these meetings and putting time into things that aren't completely necessary, not for me. So I'm very structured with how I protect my time. And a funny story is whenever I'm on an interview, for example, with a podcaster or some publication, they'll ask me, hey, are you still in charge of your own calendar, or are you in that place where you can't even touch any of your own things like your calendar because someone else handles it all for you? And my response is always surprising to them. I say, no, nobody but me touches my calendar. And the reason for that is because I have a very specific way for how I use my time. So Mondays are for deep creation and thinking. Maybe if I'm creating a new course, I'm dedicating the day mostly to do that. Or I'm thinking about, okay, what's next in the business? And I'm not taking any calls, and I'm very likely not even responding to emails. And I don't need to because I don't man the customer support. My team knows Mondays are my deep thinking time, and so it's been a given for a few years now. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my connection days, essentially. These are the days I open to calls with my team if needed, calls with potential clients, coaching calls with my actual clients, interviews, and calls with potential business partners. So those days I basically carve out, let's say from 11 to maybe 3 or 4 to have calls. I also want you to notice that I don't open my calendar to calls until 11. That's because even though I wake up at 6, I have to. I'm actually not a natural early bird. It's because I have to take my dog out at 6 every morning. So best alarm ever. I do that, and then I spend the morning really thinking, journaling, thinking through what I want to accomplish that day, maybe reading, really having that time to myself. And then I'll eat breakfast and I'll get ready for the day. So even though I technically have an early start, I don't do my, outward facing things, talking to people, things like that, until around 11:30. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays are for those things. And normally I will end the day around probably 4, maybe 3, maybe 5, around there, depending on if I have a workout, how long my husband is working, because if he comes home, then I want to hang out with him and really work like that. And then Thursdays and Fridays are once again my time. So maybe Thursdays are if I have to batch a set of YouTube videos like this. Is today Thursday? Yeah, today's the Thursday that I'm recording this. I'll make time to do that on Thursday. If there's more creation I want to do, I'll do that. If there's doing that I want to do, like maybe I just need to get some admin things handled that only I can do, I'll do that on Thursday. And then Fridays are similar to Thursdays, except sometimes I'll play hooky a little bit and start the weekend a little bit early, or I'll schedule some personal things like randomly maybe a massage, a facial, or whatever else really I feel like doing on a Friday. And then Saturdays and Sundays, I do take that time off. I'm very intentional about taking that time to recharge and spend that time with my husband, with myself, thinking and just recharging, maybe exploring something new. I do live in New York City, so there's always something new, and really making the most of that so that come Monday, I'm excited to get back to quote unquote work and have another awesome week. Now, I wanted to describe this to you because I want you to see what's possible. You don't have to be busy all the time to run a business. And in fact, the busier you are, especially with this kind of business, the more that tells you there's room for optimization, because we run on a lot of systems, software, processes. No one is working crazy nonstop hours all the time. I do want to clarify though, that's very different from where I was when I started out for, I would say, about the first 3 years. First few years of my business, I was working nonstop. I was constantly doing all the things that you need to do to grow a business. My husband would say things like, I remember seeing you at 2 a.m. in the morning, hunched over your computer working. That gives you an idea of what my schedule was like back then. Or when I was doing big live launches, my calendar would be booked out from probably 10 in the morning to maybe 7 p.m. with calls with people who were potentially interested in joining my program. That was what I would say my first 2 to 3 years looked like of nonstop putting myself out there, figuring things out, really improving my products, building my reputation, doing, again, all the things that it takes to build a business, putting in place the systems and processes that would allow me to have the schedule and the business that I do now, but those need to be created first, most likely by you as the business owner. And so I put in the time. But the reason I want to share this is because it's not like I had this overnight, or it was get rich quick, or it was anything like that. Yes, I built my business very quickly. I crossed first million in this business in my first year, and I've talked about that in depth before. And I've broken down how it was a combination of strategy, hard work, having an excellent product, and of course, with success like that, there's always a quotient of luck as well that you can't factor for. And so it was a combination of all of those things. But to continue to build something really sustainable and long-term and meaningful and something that continued to add value to the world, it took the time to build up all of this. So I want to be very clear about what's possible, what that looks like in a real way, right? Not in a scammy or anything like that way, but also show what it takes to get here. The final part that I want to share with you on today's video is, so what do I do with my time, right? It's like, Luisa, you work about 5 to 20 hours a week. You've got this really great business. You've got this really great team. What do you actually do with your time? Here's the thing. As I mentioned earlier in this video, if you have the work ethic, the drive, the enjoyment to build a business, you're probably not the type of person who's going to sit around all the time. Now, there have been times over the years when I just said, you know what, let me try this whole chilling all day thing, watched lots of Netflix, been there, done that. It was fun for a while. But I love working. I love what I do. I love creating. I love teaching, and I love business. And so these days in this business, there are a few areas that I focus on. I would say there are 3 main areas. The first is content creation. A lot of my colleagues with businesses similar to the size of mine, they will outsource their content creation. Me personally, I love it. I don't know if you can tell. I love teaching. I love sharing the things that I have gained through experience and helping others with it. So I, to this day, create my own content. I write my own emails. I do my own Instagram stories. I record my own YouTube videos. I come up with the ideas for you myself. All of that, my content is 100% me. Now, the exception is, for example, for some of my social media or other pieces of content, I do have a content manager, a social media manager, who will take my sometimes older pieces of content and then update it to reuse and republish, because if it's a good piece of content, you want lots of people to see it. No point in just publishing it once and then never using it again. But again, it's still all my content. And that's a personal preference because I love it. I enjoy it. So that's the first area that I focus on. The second area is high-level strategy and vision. I'm focused on thinking, okay, where is the business going? What's the next step? What's the next phase? What partnerships are we going to focus on, if any? Are there people I want to connect with? If there are high-level business partners that I want to connect with, that kind of stuff I'm doing myself. So driving the vision and the high-level strategy, right? Setting, kind of captaining the business. Common term for it is like the visionary, right? That is definitely a big part of what I spend my time thinking about and focusing on nowadays. The final piece that I spend time on in this business is coaching my coaching clients. So these days, I don't personally support students through my courses. That's not the way that they are structured, and that's not the way that they are positioned as well. The courses are essentially self-study. I do have customer support. I have a support squad for my flagship courses so that students can get all the support they need, but that is very intentional. And I've put so much time into all of my courses to be able to support my students that way. So my time is spent on a few high-end mastermind group coaching and private coaching / consulting clients who I work with and am very hands-on in their businesses to help them grow from 6 to multiple 6 figures to 7 figures to multiple 7 figures and so on. At any point, I would say I probably work with maybe only 2 to 4 private consulting clients and a small handful of clients in my Empire Mastermind. So those are the only 3 areas that I really focus my time on in this business. And then outside of that, I have other projects that I'm working on. For example, there are other businesses that I'm currently working on, which I will be excited to share more with you shortly once that's a little bit more formed. But there's just so many things I want to create and I love doing, all related to simply teaching and helping and creating things that I feel are needed in the world. And that's a large majority of my time nowadays, now that I've built this business to a point where I get to do the things I love, and then the rest is is run on systems and the amazing team that I've built over the years. And that's the 3-area breakdown I wanted to share with you today of the behind the scenes of running a multiple 7-figure business. I hope you found this helpful for if you are looking to scale your business to 7 figures, to see kind of how I did it and what that might look like, so that you're starting to see, okay, this is a business. It's about the systems, the work, the time, all of the things that make it so possible for anyone willing to do that to build a really meaningful, profitable, lasting business. And it's not about luck or scamming people or get rich quick schemes or anything like that. And then to get an idea of one way of running a 7-figure business and my philosophies in terms of having a lean team versus a massive one that you don't need, really being clear with your schedule versus being as busy as possible and seeing that as a mark of success. And then really deciding what you want to focus on, because you get to decide, and where you want to continue to grow at each step of the way. A common fear that I see with a lot of people is, if I get to a certain point of success, maybe I won't have my motivation. These days, I would say I am more motivated than ever, because I'm seeing the amazing impact that everything that I put out has. It's so motivational. I'm seeing the growth in my business, in myself, in my audience, in my clients, and that's also motivational, and it drives you to continue doing more and more. So with all that, I hope you found that really helpful. And if you have, go ahead and hit the like button, leave me a comment. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button as well. Thanks so much for being here, and I will see you next time.